Okay, I'd like to call to order the Park Board meeting for July 18th. Announcements and public comments. Have anything for us, Les?
Did you all watch the city council YouTube video?
No, missed it.
Interesting comments at the end from the mayor about fireworks.
Okay. We'll catch up on that.
Highly recommend that video for that and also for the wastewater plant information.
Okay.
Yeah, that meeting was, I went past 7, I think, didn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. You can, yeah.
Approval of meeting minutes from May 16th and not from June 20th. We didn't have a meeting. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
And approval for July claims.
I move that we approve the July claims.
Second.
All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye.
Aye.
And Human Resources report.
I'm so excited to talk about this one. In December, I'll be a parks director for 30 years, and this is the very first time that we didn't have anybody leave, and we didn't have anybody join in a whole month. And we have 260-some people. That's hard for me to fathom,
True.
that we didn't hire anybody, and nobody left us. So that's pretty exciting if you're me.
That is,
Well, and congratulations on 30 years
Almost.
soon.
that's amazing that nobody left.
I know if you see those from school program, sometimes there's 2 or 3 pages of those every month
Yeah.
of that happening. It's pretty exciting.
Active Adult Center project update.
Yep, so I want to give you this, there's been all kinds of developments since we last met about the Active Adult Center. They have actually, if you haven't drove by, if you want to after this meeting or something, the site demo work has already started. So it started this past maybe Monday. A lot of the trees have been removed, the playground's gone, so it's starting to look bare over there now. The actual building is scheduled to start coming down this coming Wednesday, the 24th. Will be that day that they'll start doing that. I suspect it'd be fairly quick, so if you want to take a picture before that or during it, that they may have it down in a day. So
Probably.
that would be the time to do that. Would be either before or on the 24th. The other development I wanted to tell you about was so there's been a lot of detail about stuff that you probably don't care about, like utility lines and where water lines go and all this kind of stuff. And we discovered, this has been a few months back, that one of the water lines for a little house that sits right next to the senior center, it's just north of the senior center. I believe it's 350 Ritchie Street, maybe. The water line and the sewer line for this house run into our parking lot, currently do, and they always have. Don't know how that happened. I wasn't around, all those years ago when this little tiny little house was built. But I do know that it was going to cost us a fairly significant amount of money to relocate all that, because we're not going to put those water lines into a brand new parking lot that we're building.
Right.
Did a little cost analysis of that and figured out, that's going to start getting pricey. The mayor authorized me to look into purchasing this house because we're approaching fairly large numbers. We did 3 appraisals. Actually, Rock coordinated the 3 appraisals for the house. We did get them back recently. Technically, we only needed 2, but we were trying to do a good analysis. One of the appraisals was 108. The other one was 98. And by law, if we're going to purchase real estate, we can only do the median of that, or the middle ground of that, which is 103,000. The mayor authorized me to make an offer to her for 103,000. She accepted it. I believe she'll sign the purchase agreement tomorrow. It'll be on the Board of Works agenda for August the 5th. and then we'll purchase the house. And honestly, we're going to tear it down and expand the parking lot. We'll probably get 12 to 15 more parking spaces when we do that. Other complications that we were running into is if you've looked on Beacon, which I'm sure you haven't because you don't need to, but when we look at our property line versus her property line, it almost goes up to her front door. So when we built this new parking lot, she wouldn't even have anywhere to park at this house because this little house is landlocked. So currently, they've been parking in the Active Adult Center parking lot for years that she's owned this house. So they're happy, we're happy. Like I said, expands the parking lot a little bit, but that will be on the agenda for August the 5th at the Board of Works meeting. They'll authorize that purchase. So just want to keep you up to date about that.
Chip, did the last time we saw the architectural plans, did they change that since we approved it?
No.
Since we saw it?
No,
That's what we're getting.
Yeah, it's almost exactly the same as, well, I'm pretty sure the last one I showed you. Like I said, the only difference will be, and it's not even done yet because we haven't even authorized them to do that yet, is the parking lot will change with this, obviously with this purchase, but you'll see that once the architect,
What was the address of that house?
I believe it's either 350 or 150 Ritchie Street.
I think,
That's the side road there next to the Active Adult Center. Looks like an alley, but it's actually a street.
okay.
It's probably 350 because it's.
I
not
believe
that
it's
close to Main
350.
Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That was my update on that. Like I said, next month, our progress construction meetings start on July the 30th range. So by the time we meet again, we'll have met a couple times. I'll give you some real good information by then. So
Who's the general contractor?
it's Deweese Construction. They're here
Oh, yeah.
in Franklin.
There's
So.
a playground.
I used to think that was an alley, but that's a.
The only other comment I would make is something the mayor comments all the time that Rock and I don't usually have to experience, but we experience this time, is getting the utilities to turn off a service is like pulling teeth, man.
It's horrible.
Wow. It took us a month to get the gas off
Wow.
of the Active Adult Center, so. But Rock did it, he deserved all the credit. So.
Good job, Rock. Any other comments about the Active Adult Center project? Approved fees for a new columbarium at the cemetery?
Yeah, so if you haven't been by, it's actually in. I know Les posted a really good picture of it the other day. Most people, if you don't know where they are, then you definitely see it. It's right in front of the mausoleum now. So we're ready to, well, it has a couple little other things that need to be done, but maybe by the beginning of August, we'll be ready to actually start selling the niches is what they're called. A single, matter of fact, I gave this to you about a year ago when we started this process. So this isn't any different than I gave you then. You just don't remember, I'm sure. A single niche would be $2,000 and a double would be $3,000. I show you the projected revenue on them because the whole intent of buying the very first one was the city was going to front the money for the first one. It only takes us, I believe, 10 doubles and 20 singles to break even on the actual buying of the columbarium. And then after that, we'll be able to buy additional ones based on the revenue of selling them, if that makes sense to you. So the second one that we buy will actually be paid for from revenue from the first one. And then the third one will be obviously from the second one. And then if you'll notice when you go out there and look at it, it's in a kind of a little boulevard area that has the grass in the middle. So it's intentionally there because it has a nice long stretch and we can put potentially 10 of them through there if we wanted to. And you can drive on both sides. It's got plenty of sidewalk to walk around it. So the other fees that are associated with them, they do have open and closed fees just like any other service at the cemetery. That would be $200 for a single and $200 for a double. So it's the same either way. And then obviously most people do lettering on them because you obviously want to know who is in that specific spot. And that's the fee for the lettering. It's $200 for single and $300 for a double. And you see what the overall projection numbers would be per category there, so. We wouldn't do the lettering ourselves. That'd be something that we would collect a fee and then pay a company to come do, so.
And is it like a brass plate or something, or do you
Yeah,
know?
it's like it's either a plate or brass lettering, one or the other, yeah.
Okay.
How does the single niche compare to a single grave, price-wise?
It's way cheaper. That's why a lot of people are picking this,
Route.
thank you, this route. Thank you for us looking for that word. Because it's significantly cheaper than it is to actually be buried into the ground, so. That's why a lot of people do this.
Like half as cheap?
And I think it's even more than that.
Wow.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but it may be in the $6,000 range.
Wow.
Cool. So you need a motion to approve this rate?
Yes, please.
Anybody got a motion they'd like to make?
I move that we accept the rate as projected.
Second.
And all those in favor of the new columbarium rates?
Aye.
So moved.
I believe the open and closing fee for a normal grave is in the $1,000 range too, so I mean, yeah, it's significantly cheaper to do it this way.
I'm glad I'm going to the ocean.
What's the sustainability of this building for foul weather? This column thing?
Oh, it ain't going nowhere, so.
Okay.
It's you should have seen the crane that had to put it down, so.
Tornado? So it wasn't all right.
It was a specialized, because it's so heavy.
Is it granite or is it?
It's granite, yeah.
It's granite.
Even the inside walls are granite, so I mean, this thing is very solid, so.
I don't want to be on the bottom.
I have to drive by it.
Okay. Reports.
Is it by-
Community
is it by-
Park project completion. Yeah, I saw it
It's
was
by the
done.
mausoleum, you know, it's the really bigger building out there. I mean, you gotta drive to it, because if you're just looking at the mausoleum, you may not see it, because you may think it's part of it. But it's, once you get there, you'll see it. It's also not as, so the columbarium is not as big as some, I got, the mayor commented to me, oh, I thought it would be way bigger. It's not huge, so I mean, it's not like, I've seen some of, like Forest Lawn that are 20 feet in the air, you know?
What's this, about 8 feet
Yeah, maybe, yeah,
or 6?
yeah, in that range. But, I mean, it does have 100 and, I can't remember off the top of my head, but like 240 total, like.
Slots?
Slots, thank you.
So.
Just helping
are
me with
the-
all these words.
The niches or the cubbies.
Cubbies, there you go.
Can you put a decent size
He said that.
urn in it?
Yeah.
Can't do that anywhere.
Or a cedar box? Do we have any rules about what you can put in there?
If I know of, nope. Be careful what you put in there. It may not come out.
Dogs.
Yeah, I've got a few ashes sitting around my house. Okay, moving on to reports.
Safe deposit box, maybe.
Community Park project completion.
Yeah, so yes, it does. The community park, so we've done some other stuff over there too. Obviously, the pickleball courts are done and the basketball court is complete. We also refurbished the bridge over there. I don't know if you saw, they did some work on it and repainted it and changed some signage over there and that kind of good stuff. They're just installed a new swing set, and then they're repainting all the playground equipment. So it's getting some new life.
Yeah, there's
over
always people out there now.
Yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, when good things happen, then, you know, other things pop up, like we're having to rethink the parking over there because there's so many more people that are
Because of
coming.
pickleball, probably.
Yeah, and we did honestly look at expanding the parking into angle parking over there and to add, I mean, just a front layer of asphalt to it was like astronomical $76,000 or something. So we're looking at some other option. I think the main option that I would say publicly is if you would just walk the couple hundred feet across the bridge, there's 150 parking spots at the Wonder Five Center.
Side of the creek.
Yep.
Can you just post a sign at the pickleball courts?
We are going to, yes.
Please park.
Yes, we're going to put one at the entrance of the park too that says that.
Additional parking available.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good, looks good. rescheduled June 21 concert to August 16th.
Yeah, since we had to cancel that one concert because of the heat, and a lot of people don't understand why we do that kind of stuff, and it really, I'll sit out in the heat all day long, and it doesn't bother me, but it does bother a band that's going to sit there in 98-degree heat and the direct sun,
Humidity.
because, you got to remember, this thing was designed for the sun to be at spectators' back, but the performer gets it straight on in the face. So we have to think about those kind of things, and that's why it was rescheduled. So we're going to have 3 in a row in August. So and they're 3 good ones too. So 3 weeks in a row we'll have 3 concerts. So
Get ready. Yep. And the first one is August 16th?
no, it's the week. It's before that. Yeah. This is the
This
middle
is the
date.
middle?
Yep.
Okay. Financial reports.
I believe Doc Schaefer passed those down to you. The athletic and recreation was not the colored like yellow ones. The other one. And there again, it has the 2003 on the back, and obviously the one that doesn't go all the way through is this year. And last time I looked, which is about 3 o'clock today, we were about $76,000 ahead of last year. So,
They're all the same.
Wow.
Les, if you want one, I'll give you one too, so you can look at it. Yeah, this one too. And that one too. So you can compare in June of this year, our revenue was 201.
8,000 more.
Yeah. We made just shy of $64,000 in concessions alone, so it's pretty good. And that shows you how quickly these things, I created this at about 2:30, and before I came over here, I looked and we were already past 100,000 for July. That's how quick it goes.
Thank you, Mother Nature.
Yep. And then the pool is the one, the yellow, so it has, here again, I think it's up to 14-year analysis now. You can look back and compare if you wanted to Junes and Julys and Mays and.
Do you have a lot of turnout for the Thursday night free? I know it's not every Thursday, is it? It's the
It is every Thursday in June and July, and we have a lot, actually. Those are the days, a typical day at the pool, and just use concessions as a gauge, that we might make $1,500 in concessions, in a day. On the free family nights, we probably hit 3,000. Yeah.
Well, I did have to pay to get in, so I'll buy 2 Cokes and 2 candy bars.
You caught our marketing strategy.
What time of day do we offer swim lessons? Like, is it in the morning or when is
It's
it?
it's in the mornings before we open. Those numbers look different than the previous year because this year we split half of them, half of them back into the middle school pool. So that number doesn't look as big as it did last year because all of them were at the outdoor pool last year. So the other numbers are going to be in a different category. What you're looking at with the yellow is only what happens at the outdoor pool.
So we're offering swim lessons also at the middle school?
We did at
pools?
a certain point. We don't anymore, but it was more like March through the beginning of June, I believe. And then we switched them all to outside.
Good looking Talking numbers.
Alfonso has done a really, really good job of controlling personnel costs too, because you only see the revenue side, but just the last payroll alone, we saved about $20,000 from the previous payroll from the last year, if that makes sense, in 2-week time period. So he's very frugal about when obviously the weather changes or something, that people go home and all those kind of things. So makes a big difference.
Like yesterday, say for instance, when we were just having downpours with no lightning, was he open or was he closed?
No, so for example, in that situation, they may let them go home for an hour and a half or 2 hours and then they'll come back. That kind of thing, save money. So, and those kids love that. Like, ooh, I get to do something from 2 to 4, whatever, you know. Well, and half of them may stay. I mean, he may give them the option of doing. But that's the nice thing about having somebody there full time is he's able to do that kind of stuff. And then, like I said, even if it's 2 hours here or an hour here, or, you know, if it's 64 degrees and nobody comes, we've closed at noon or 1 o'clock. And, you know, I know this month a day or two because of that. So kind of nice. But yeah, it just rained the other day. Like you said, we opened back up and it was beautiful and sunny. So.
Yeah.
Is his office in that building? where the
I've only had to
bathrooms
cancel
are?
swim lessons 3 times, I
2.
know that.
Yeah, he one in our office, and then he keeps one over there too during the summer. Yeah, we had great June, and all of a sudden it got a little rainy in July. So
Any other comments about the Athens Rec Fund? Park and Cemetery?
yeah, so that was the Athens Rec side of the budget, and the one that we're looking at on the iPad now would be the actual city portion of our budget. And we're in good shape all around on that too. So. I have worked with the mayor on next year's budget already. And if you're looking at that very first page that you're looking at, almost toward the bottom you'll see the category overtime. And you'll notice that we budget $3,000 a year in overtime, and we're already $5,400 in the negative. And this has been since the amphitheater opened, is that normally we would only spend $3,000 a year in overtime, but since the amphitheater's open, we've spent some upwards of $18,000 in overtime since that time. So what we normally have to do to correct that negative is we'll take money from the part-time line item to correct that, which just basically hurts us because now I can hire less part-time people when we do that. He allowed me to correct that for next year's budget, so we're going to budget $15,000 for overtime and not have to take it out of part-time, which would be a big deal to us. So.
Yes, it will.
Do we no longer have a marketing coordinator?
We do. It's just paid a different way. That's why it says zeros on it.
Okay.
So that person's paid from Athens Rec that we just looked at. We have 3 people that are that way. Our marketing coordinator, our facilities kind of coordinator, and Alfonso, the aquatics director, are all paid from Athens Rec.
Any other comments about the financial reports? Or
The cemetery is on there too. I don't know if you want to see that or not, but I mean, it's I think the last page.
Oh, yeah.
The only comment I would make about the cemetery budget is, I have talked to the mayor about that one of my jobs is to project the future here. And we're gonna run out of money in part-time staff at the cemetery. Mainly because, so we run the cemetery, with this philosophy for part-time staff is I could easily lay off the, part-time staff at the cemetery during the winter months, and we would be forced to pay them unemployment when we do that. The other option is to keep them and if for the same money, get work out of it. That makes sense. So what we have done in the past, we haven't done this for a couple of years, but I think we're going to have to this year, is the city budgets $25,000 a year for unemployment compensation that we never use. And what we have done in the past is transfer some of that money into the cemetery budget so I don't have to lay those people off. The philosophy of that is we're paying it either way. We're going to pay for it in unemployment, or we're going to pay for it and them working for us and getting things done at the cemetery. So this might be one of the, I know Brooke and Stu are working on a projection about that now, but just to give you a heads up, we may do that toward the end of the year.
So is that salary for the sexton, is that pretty common?
Mm-hmm.
That's about what other sextons make at other cemeteries?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
The last I heard, the city employees were getting $2,000 raises for next year. So if you look at that number and add 2, then that's what it would be for next year.
It's probably not even a cost of living raise the way inflation has hit us.
Mm-hmm.
But better than nothing.
It's better than no raise.
City has such great health benefits
Right.
that usually makes up for it.
Yeah, that's how we pull in police officers, it's the benefits.
Yep.
Any other comments from the board? Keep up the good work.
They are doing a great job, I agree. Makes my life easy.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.